Greetings. This is Black Light. A national emergency is in effect. That's a code for martial law. F.E.M.A camps, Rex 84, aka King Alpha Plan, is all leading up to invading the urban inner cities, the ghettos where poor black brothers and sisters are found. Now, I heard the brother out of New Orleans gave a report about a young brother being arrested. See, the elders, the conscious elders, that's what we should name ourselves and network with each other and give each other credit. You know, each of us got our post. My post, I'm trying to wake the people up to use their own minds, not let no one else use their minds for them. I'm DIY. DIY. Do it yourself. Do for self. You know, I'm not down with Minister Farrakhan. At one time, I thought he was on his post, walking it in a perfect manner. But I can't see it now. I can't see it. And because it's too close to the 12 o'clock hour. It's like, matter of fact, the clock is striking 12 now. It might be in its first gong or first bell, but that's how close it is, to what's happening. Who they gonna round up first is those who they gonna declare extremists, and those who giving out truthful information. So that's why it's important for the elders who's telling the truth and not afraid to tell the truth to recognize one another. And we ain't got to be in close proximity or in the same vicinity of one another. We can network over this YouTube before they cancel it out. And but we got to be waking our people up and get the focus off of these young boys, the traders in the community, because they want us to focus on all the scam artists, but in reality, they agents, while we focusing in on this smoke screen that they putting up. They're getting all they soldiers, all they ducks lined up to invade the community. They're going to catch us sleeping. So the best defense for that is for the community or the neighborhood to form alliances with your next door neighbor. Now it might be a agent, to disrupt that on your block. So you got to have a screening protocol and a code of conduct established on your block. You do this by forming block clubs and then setting up a protocol. You don't want no drug dealers on your block, because That's who they're going to come for first. And as far as you telling the truth, don't be afraid to tell the truth. You know, that's the only way that this is going to work. In your churches, you know, you can quickly set up a protocol in your church to find out what preacher or minister is just out to get that dollar, or if he died for his people, is he going to save his people? I'm going to play some for you in a little bit of time we got left. And then we're going to get further into this tape. But let us get on with it. And I give some comment after this, you know. Time is valuable.
Now, this following program, and this, by the way, this particular tape you're about to hear was produced for us by Eric Siegel up at sister station KALX, which airs excerpts of these programs. And this particular program was produced a number of years ago. This is a tape of a press conference given by...
By the way, this audio right here wasn't never to get in the presence of black people. You see, black people don't listen to these types of programs. You know, they know that. Only very few. And so we were fortunate enough that it was the right brother recording these programs, listening on these programs.
The late Representative Leo Ryan's legislative assistant, Joe Holsinger. He had a press conference on May 23rd of 1980 at which he spoke to people, representatives of a black psychological association, black psychologists, and he talked about Jonestown and the very firm indications that, in fact, Jonestown was a U.S. intelligence operation, and then when it was blown, those people were deliberately liquidated. And it's worth thinking about.
For you young brothers and sisters out there who don't know what Jonestown is, Jim Jones. And Jim Jones, reason why I'm bringing this up is because Jim Jones was invited to the Nation of Islam when Wallace D. Muhammad took over his father's organization, and then started talking bad against his old man. Anybody talk bad against their old man, I don't care. You know not to listen to them. So anyway.
Relocation in this context, and ask yourself whether the same media voices that didn't cover this event properly in Guyana would cover it if it happened, say, in the middle of Wyoming or something like that. And bear in mind Representative Drug Czar Bennett's proposal to relocate kids from inner city areas that are beset by drugs, because these relocation proposals are ominously reminiscent of the relocation of those people who were considered undesirable by the Third Reich. So those of you who are taping, please get ready to do so. And please get ready to do so. We're going to go for about a half hour or so. Here is Joe Holsinger. Joe Holsinger.
Since I had appeared on a public television several months ago with a group of black professionals, mostly psychologists and doctors, they invited me to appear today to provide information that they thought might be that I might be able to help with this forum today, with their research. I appeared in Washington in February before the International Relations Committee and made some statements and some charges and documentation which resulted in the Foreign Affairs Committee, or International Relations Committee, which they call it today, they voted to ask the House Select Committee on Intelligence to investigate my charges. And they are currently investigating those charges by the House Select Committee on Intelligence.
Can you tell us what the charges are?
Well, the charges basically amounted to CIA contact with both the Burnham government there and with the People's Temple. That originally, it was my belief at the time I went to Washington that the purpose of our involvement there was to support the government of Burnham for commercial reasons, and they used the People's Temple almost as enforcers to help support an unpopular government there to keep control of the government of Guyana. We knew that there had been an article in the San Mateo Times in December of '79 which indicated that the Deputy Chief of Mission there, Richard Dwyer, was in fact the CIA station chief. And he was the one that went to Jonestown with Leo's party, and he claimed to be slightly wounded, but there was a tape made at the time of the murders and suicides there with Jones yelling, "Get Dwyer out of here, get Dwyer out of here." And the indications are that it was Dwyer who went back into Jonestown after Leo was murdered and was there at the time. And there's great questions just who shot Jim Jones and why, whether Jones was shot to shut him up. The question also as to how all these people died and just when they died, which is all documented here. But when I came back from Washington, because of my testimony, I started getting documentation from a Berkeley psychologist called the Penal Colony here, and from the Alliance for Preservation of Religious Liberty in Washington, which indicated other things, one of which was that George Philip Blakey was a top Jones aide, and he was the man who arranged the purchase or the lease of the land in Guyana, provided the money and arranged the lease down there in 1974. He also is tracked now as being a CIA operative in Angola in 1975 with UNITA. He's also the same guy who was the top aide who arranged all this purchase and the finances, is also the husband of Deborah Layton Blakey, who fled Jonestown and made those charges. He's the brother-in-law of Larry Layton, who was acquitted yesterday. And it's interesting to note, the Peninsula Times Tribune says yesterday the jury acquitted, in acquitting Layton, the jury appeared to have agreed with the defense contention that Layton was brainwashed and drugged at the time of the shootings, could not be held criminally responsible. But the gist of what I'm getting to is this. I've received a lot of documentation, which I will value here today, that indicates the strong possibility that Jonestown and the People's Temple was in reality a mass mind control experiment conducted by the CIA as a follow-up to something called MK Ultra, which they conducted from the early 50s through 1974.
Yeah, we're gonna let you chew on that for a minute, and get back into some more of this on another video, on another segment. But look, don't sleep on me, because if you sleep on me, it might make the difference between your generation surviving this and your children's generation surviving this onslaught that's getting ready to come on us. It ain't gonna be as tragic as you think. But if you're sleeping, it'll be worse than what you're speculating on now. Those who don't believe it. This is Black Light. Stay tuned.